Well, welcome to Not the Shed. This is the first time I've had to actually come out of the shed to show off a build, because what I've built is a little bit sillier than usual. Here we have what is now being known as Darth Wall, and I honestly can't remember how much I've spoken about this already, but it's a Beetleweight, and it's very silly. To show you how silly, I have special guest star Hello There here, who can come in for a bit of scale. It's pretty big. It is a 1 metre wide UK beetle, which is, there's no point hiding this. It is absolutely a shameless rip-off of Beetle Smee. This wasn't something I ever planned. This literally came about because I misclicked on an eBay order, and instead of buying a big slab of 2mm mild steel, I bought a big slab of 1mm mild steel. It's not something I really had much use for. So I now have a 1 metre wide robot. I say it's based on Smee. Please don't think that makes it good. There are a lot of very, very important differences to note. First of all, Smee is a little bit smaller, as far as I'm aware. And it has a plastic wedge. This, of course, is a steel wedge. That means that the weight balance of this is absolutely dreadful. This barely drives, because all of the weight is at the front. The wedge on its own, I think, is about 700 grams, which means that almost all of the weight is in front of the wheels. That's not something you want on a Beetle at all. It's also a very, very wide contact patch. There's a lot of stuff just dragging on the floor, and where it's running some slightly faster motors, these are the 1350 RPM motors that come with mounts and wheels really cheaply on eBay. It doesn't really have the torque to move itself. When it does get going, it's pretty quick, but getting there is hard, and it also has absolutely no pushing power. Another key difference you might be able to just see here, Smee is 4-wheel drive, which kind of eliminates any problems they might have with weight balance, whereas this is just 2. Smee is all brushless, it's super compact. This is built out of, oversized bits of HDPE. It's super tanky on the back. We'll see that when we look inside. Big old brushed motors. It just doesn't have the room or the weight for 4-wheel drive. The other really big issue it has, that the real thing doesn't, is that it can do this. This robot is honestly almost more stable on its face than it is on its wheels. If it ever gets inverted, it might land on its wheels, but it will fall straight back down. This isn't something that I ever imagined being competitive in its current form. I do have a plan, and I think I have the weight. I haven't actually weighed this yet. I think I have the weight for a dedicated tree mech, but I'm not sure it would work, and I'm not sure I really want to bother. Odds are this won't see competition, but it has been a really fun thing to build. It was basically just a test of some construction methods using my pillar drill. That's the only reason it really exists at all. But part of me does want to see what would happen, at least against a horizontal. And against a vert, actually, because with this being 1mm mild, if I pick it up by the centre, you'll see that it has a lot of flex. It is a very wobbly robot. I'd quite like to see it take a big hit, just to see what happens. But there it is. It has the headline that it is 1 metre wide. I'll always have that. And I think we should probably take a little look inside of it. Thankfully, we can do that back indoors. Okay, we couldn't do it indoors. There wasn't nearly enough room for me to get the camera and everything organised. So this is one-sided drive. This is the right side. I can flip these drive pods over, so this would be the left of the wheel on the outside. This is a bit more protected from anything coming in from this side. There are advantages and disadvantages. I can see ways this would get stacked with just kind of this part on the floor, and having the wheels the other way would help with that. But again, not really trying to be competitive here. Internally, this is super, super basic. It's battery, receiver, ESC. Battery here, receiver here, ESC tucked further forward. Yes, all of this does need wrapping in tape. No, I didn't think of that until I got here. Really, really chunky HDP is the first thing to see. 10mm on the back, 5mm on the side. The base plate was 5. I've taken that down to 3 just for weight. But it could potentially go back up to 5. I'm trying to make the weight for a Shri mech. If I decide not to do that, I'll whack the 5 back on. It's all held together with these weird little angle blocks. Just little nylon things, really convenient. terribly, terribly space inefficient. This whole thing could probably be about half the size if it wasn't using them. But this was, again, just a quick casual build. I wasn't worried about it being optimal. Even if I did make this smaller, I'd have to have the wedge be less tall, which would mean somehow cutting along this whole piece. I just don't want to mess with that. I like the stupidity of it as it is. The big thing on here that's an experiment, but there are two things. Number one, having to do independent drive sides. There's nothing that complicated about the idea of doing one receiver drives this side, one receiver drives the other side. Things did get a bit weird with the mixing because I had the ESCs trying to do the mixing. In the end, I decided not to do that, did it on the transmitter. It's been a whole lot better. Other experimental thing is I'm finally working with foam wheels. I was against these for a long, long time because I assumed they were kind of spongy. These things are super solid. They've had a good coat of latex on them, and compared to the wheels that I was using before, they A, look better, and B, are so much lighter. I think this whole wheel and hub is under 10 grams, I think, whereas these are maybe 30 or 40 with the hub. Just a big waste of weight. The quality on them's not great. They're not that grippy. Just get out of here. So that's what it's like inside. I could show you the other side, but it's exactly the same. Instead, I think we should take a look at it driving. Before I start this test, there are two things I want to make clear. Number one, top panels are taped on, so I haven't done links yet, and I need ease of access to the internals. Two, this space isn't big enough. No space is big enough. I can at least prove that it moves. So there goes one top panel. And there we go. It's super unhappy on this high grip floor. I'm never doing this again. Before I finish up this video, this is going to be terrible handheld footage because there's no other way, but I want to show you what an ordeal it is to actually work with this robot. So let's say, for example, you want to weigh it. Normally, that's not so bad. With this thing, there's really a bit of a scale problem with the scales. I'll do my best to get it on here. I am doing this one-handed, but honestly, it's hard enough anyway. First of all, my space isn't even really wide enough. So I'm going to do... Oh, the scale's gone off. Perfect. Let's get that going again. There we go. And I'll try and put it on there and... Oh, only 1 kilo. Do you know why it's saying that? It's so floppy. Both ends are now touching the workbench. So what I've devised is a very clever scheme involving a very large piece of wood. So what we can do is... I don't know where to put anything. This is horrendous. What we do is... Highly scientific. We put the piece of wood on the scale. We zero out the scale and the wood. We zero out the... Thank you. And the wood just adds enough rigidity to actually keep everything up off of the bench. Sometimes. Normally. There we go. That's still touching. This is awful. You see, just don't do this. Don't copy this, whatever you do. So we go. And now I've got the top panels under here somewhere. So there we go. We're currently weighing in at 1300. That's actually a lot less than I was expecting. I changed the base plates over recently. Saved more than I thought. So there is 200 grams to play with for a possible tree mech. But honestly, I don't think I ever want to have to carry this to an event on public transport anyway. That's the robot. Final touches for this were done at the BBB Virtual Hackspace event, which was really cool. There was also another robot I was working on, which we will show you soon, but not yet. Okay, update, I lied. It's actually 1372, because one of the batteries fell out while it was all flopping around. Thanks, Darth, you're the best. Bye!